Everyone knows rock music's dead, right? Not as long as the K's are around, it isn't. Hey, welcome to the channel with me, JSB. Hope your week's been good. Mine has, not least because I went to a cracking gig on Tuesday night, which happens to be what I'm reviewing for you right now. Now, most people watching probably already know the K's and what fine taste you have. But for those who don't, they are a four-piece indie rock band from Earlstown, which is a wee town up north somewhere. And they consist of Jamie Boyle on guitar and vocals, Ryan Breslin on lead guitar, Dexter Baker on bass and bants, nice alliteration, and the peerless Nathan Pears on drums. So just over a year ago, I first saw them in a cold church hall in Kingston, launching their debut album, I Wonder If the World Knows. Oh, sorry, that's got a question mark at the end of it. I wonder if the world knows. A couple of weeks later, that album stormed into the UK charts at number 3. So this week, I saw them for the fourth time, playing a almost packed out Roundhouse in London and gearing up to release album number 2, Pretty, on the internet, which is not something that I am. Never mind. So me and the other half, who was an even bigger fan, if that's possible, and I guess it is, we kind of had mixed reactions when the Roundhouse was announced as the venue. It's great that the band are moving up to play bigger places, but in recent years, this admittedly iconic venue has been somewhat notorious for their general inability to get an audience through the doors in time for a show to start. So, being the overcautious old people that we are, we were there needlessly early, really, especially as we had allocated seats upstairs like really old folks do. But pleasingly, it looked like everything went a lot smoother than on other recent occasions there. Though it was amusing seeing their security team managing to make setting up a couple of barriers at the entrance look like a challenge set as part of a Mensa induction. Uh, yeah, you had to see it to understand. And I still don't, to be honest. As for the crowd, I mentioned recently in my review of the Warning gig in Brixton that the demographics there were well spread out, but this is even truer for the K's. They've got, I would say, a core youth audience who are up for moshing, but there's also certainly a fair amount of older followers as well, and some very young kids seemingly be introduced to the world of gigs via a K's concert. And that, in my book, is superb parenting. Well done to those who were involved there. I did have to laugh at one youngster though, male of course, in the queue, bemoaning the fact that it seemed to be a bit of a sausage fest. Mate, word of advice: don't get into prog rock at all. Do get into Noah Khan. Girls love him. You're welcome. Now, even though the new album isn't due to be released until late June, this was officially the Pretty on the Internet tour. But understandably, the setlist mostly consisted of tunes from the debut album, plus some notable earlier tracks. Aurora, for example, getting a rare outing as it was about a lass from London. And I know some folk cringe at old people, or indeed any people, using the term bangers, so just for you, all I'll say is that the band delivered one jolly fine tune after another, so they did. You mean, I'll get to the opener in a sec, but Icarus, Chancer, Heart on My Sleeve, Hoping Maybe, that's just within the first 5 songs, and there was no let up after that either, so it was a set full of wall to wall, sod it, bangers. So there were only 2 tracks previewed from the forthcoming second album, but what great tunes they are. We got Gravestone to kick things off in fine style, and then the mellower Helen O.I. nearer the other end of the show, which allowed Jamie to really demonstrate his vocal chops, even more so than he was doing the rest of the night. And I have to say this, the whole band are great and are a solid band, a proper tight outfit, but Jamie is next level, something special. He's the main songwriter and a great frontman with an incredible voice. He has all the makings of a future superstar. Not sure that he'd actually cope with that if it did happen, but if he can, I hope it does. Anyway, for a still new band, they've already amassed a strong enough catalogue of songs to be able to mix things up a bit from tour to tour and even show to show. And once the new album's out, that's obviously only going to be truer still. So it's going to make What to Leave Out a harder and harder question as time goes on. But let's face it, that's a nice problem to have. And they clearly know how to put a set list together and keep an audience pumped from start to finish. So yeah, a cracking night, but it didn't begin and end with the K's, it just ended with them. Because prior to their performance, there was support from two other youngish bands, the Bracknall, who clearly had some dedicated followers amongst the crowd, and Day We Ran, who are an outfit from Down Under, making their London debut. Now, the Bracknell were good. Day We Ran, I thought was simply wonderful. There's not much info out there about them, and I did reach out to them via their Facebook page to get some more, but no reply. So anyway, so far there are only 4 tracks available on Spotify, and only from what I can tell, only one of those was actually in the set, which was 7 songs long. But they're definitely a band to watch, and I'm pretty tempted to catch their headlining set during the week. We shall see. So, and obviously this isn't aimed at those in the crowd of my age or even older. To those who are in those upper age brackets, spending time posting rubbish on Facebook about, oh, all modern music is made by AI, or there hasn't been anything good since whatever year they happen to turn 18, you know what people are like. To those people, I say, get off your ass, stop talking out of it, and go looking for the stuff because it is out there.
And by the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
And quite. Couldn't have put it better myself. So yes, they are spectacular, and they get a solid 9 out of 10 from me. And the only reason it's not a 10 is because I know they're only going to keep getting better. So my advice is, if you have the chance, go see them anyway and any way you can. And whether you can see them live or not, pre-order Pretty on the internet now. In fact, right after smashing the like button on this video. Now, if you made it through all that but still haven't actually heard the band's music, how about checking out 4 random tunes from that debut album, all of which happen to be in the setlist this week, by the way. And I will just say thanks for watching and bye for now, but I hope not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.